And welcome to another Tuesday night, 9 o'clock in the northern Dayton area for another episode 11 of the League of Anarchy Fantasy Football Podcast. Just one, if not the greatest show on the Sports Crew Radio Network. So be sure to follow them on iTunes and Twitter at Sports Crew Radio. We appreciate them for putting up with whatever this is that we do. And I had to say north of Dayton because I had a Twitter account today reach out. They wanted me to vote on the best Dayton area podcast. And it was the Hateful Eight Fantasy Football Podcast. And I said, you guys, I'll throw you out a vote because maybe you are the best fantasy football podcast in the Dayton area. But the League of Anarchy Fantasy Football Podcast is the best northern Dayton area fantasy football podcast. And I'm sure we're a lot more active than anything they're involved in. They probably have a bunch of sucky leagues they're all in, and, you know, Aunt Mildred and Uncle Bob and, you know, Sister Nancy. But here we are, the League of Anarchy, and we kick a little ass in this league. Welcome, guys. We have 7 of us right at the moment, and that includes Garrett Jr., who will get up here in just a second. So don't go anywhere, Reed. I'm afraid you'll get scared and leave us. I thought we'd have a little more turnout tonight. 7's not bad. That's more than half of the league. And speaking of more than half of the league, I think all but one person still has a chance to make the playoffs. And I think everyone here has a shot at it. The person that doesn't is not here tonight. And I don't think he's missed a show either. Reed. No,
that's Kyle.
Oh, Kyle, right. Kyle hasn't missed, but now Reed is down there close. And, we'll get, that's why I bumped him down and put him up last. What do you guys think? Pretty tight, pretty exciting. We're coming down to week 12 and 13. It's definitely going to go to that. What's not up where I'm at? What's the big matchup of the week? Who needs to win?
Zach and I. Yep. That's matchup of the week.
Pretty important matchup. TJ is in a big matchup that doesn't necessarily involve him, but if he wins, he'll knock a good team out. I think that's pretty big. I'll be watching that matchup.
This is the only week that I will be rooting on TJ.
The only week.
Like I said before, just send me some really good offers in my favor, and I'll accept them.
And then TJ will lose by 60 points this week. That's
probably, Brody. His team looks bad as always.
Well, 20 of my players are injured, but Zach's the one to talk about bad team.
Right. Well, we do have one team at 9-2. I'm throwing out Brody a little love. Brody, B-Rod at 9-2.
Stop winning.
We have 2 teams at 7-4. 2 teams at 7-4. I am one of those. The other one, I don't know. I can't read the name. Oh, the other Crayport. Then we have 2 at 6-5. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 at 5-6. Obviously, the 5 and 6 are all still in it for sure. We have 2 4 and 7s. That's Reed and Helsinger. Obviously, the math shows they're still in it, but the way it's going to be, they're going to need a couple people to lose 2 in a row. So it is going to come down to it. I have the big winning streak is Host Smasher. Congratulations, Host Smasher. I'm glad that you're you're on the rebound, but I do think the streak ends here. Just letting you know. I mean, this week will give you a chance to catch your breath and then still hopefully make the playoffs, right? I mean, that's all I got to say.
Don't worry, Mark. I will make the playoffs. I mean, my team has fought hard for these 5 wins in a row. Coming from 1-5, most people would give up. I think they deserve a rest, which I plan on giving them this week. And, overall, I think my team represents everything you look for in an underdog. And, don't sleep on the Smash and Dirty Hose.
Don't sleep on the Host Smasher, which you almost changed your name at the last minute. When you were 1-5, you were going to change your name because you said you couldn't have smashed a hoe if you needed to at that point. Now Now look at you. You are just smashing everywhere. Congratulations. I'm proud of you. And you're scoring some points. It's not just some wins. You've had some big wins.
Yeah, they're not like Brody's wins where the other team just lays down for him.
I got you.
I have the most points for in the league, damn it.
So you've earned all your points, Jim. Good.
Yeah. Unlike Brody, who's had the least points scored against him, which directly correlates to his record.
Yeah, Brody hasn't done much.
Secondly,
I'm just saying, this is definitely a revenge week, though. You beat me in week 1. This is payback week. I'm sorry, Jim. So, Brackman and Zach, again, you guys have a big, I'm not going to say losers out because you both are at 5 and 6, but obviously the odds are probably, so it really does come with this. And there's a couple of the matchups have a lot of weird buys, so it's going to be a struggle for you guys. What do each of you have to say about the matchup this week?
Everett, you go first.
Obviously, I'm confident in my team, but today I'm going to use Jimmy's early season strategy as the waiver wire hunter, and hopefully
good luck with
get
that.
Quite a few of the deeper guys that I want to get for my team because I pay more attention than obviously Brody does at fantasy football. So I'm trying to go on a little run here at the end and get into the playoffs and be strong enough to hopefully play Brody in the first round and take him out.
Oh, I'll pick you in the first round if you make it.
Do it.
So bad. I will root for Everett just to see that. I would love to see Brody and Zach go at it the first round. And that is unique. People who are listening to our podcast for the first time, we are live on YouTube. Just all one word, a fantasy fan, and you search for that, you'll find us out there, and you can make comments and we'll post them up here. But what's unique about our league is it's technically the top 4 finishers get a pick who they play, but it really is the top 3 because the number 4 guy gets stuck with whoever's left over. But in our league, the top 3 teams get a pick who they play. So you obviously have to look at other teams and see who you want to go up against. Kevin, you're back in the league for the first time in a while. Did you know that was a new twist we added a few years back?
I did not. I'm learning that for the first time.
Yes. And the reason we did that is it makes the first couple positions still want to keep playing, meaning, I still want to win now because I want to finish second so that I get to pick somebody versus if I lose the next 2, I'm probably still in the playoffs, but if I lose the next 2, I would have to be picked instead of get a pick, So the first round of the playoffs, if you finish first, like Brody, right now it does look like, there's an outside chance. If Brody would lose 2 in a row and I'd win 2 in a row, I could be the number 1. But that would be the only other option. Otherwise, Brody will be picking first. And then Brody can pick one of any 7 player of the teams to play against.
So he would pick the 1 seed, and then he would pick who the 8 seed would be.
That's correct. Now, and then you're done. And then what? Now, we've talked about that in the past, and then we do lock it in at that point. There's no second round picking or anything. It's just, and the advantage of that is it keeps the first, second, and third place teams like Brody right now could just lay down and let people win or whatever. But no, he needs to win to make sure he gets to pick. In some cases, you might pick, and I think it was a couple years ago, I think Dally picked me because my team looked bad. And I think Dally picked twice, number 2, and I was the 3rd seed. So I would have defaulted the 3rd seed in a normal league, but instead Dally picked me because he thought he had a better chance. And it did backfire that year. That's the year I won the Super Bowl. But it does make it unique because you don't have to, and we're finding out with Magel and Clay, if you look, our 7th and 8th seed teams right now are pretty tough, so it allows you to pick a team that maybe's, on the downslide versus a team that's on the up. So it is a pretty unique thing. So Brody, have you looked already? Are you already looking at that part of it, or you don't have that much confidence?
Not yet, only because with the group being so close, I kind of want to see who's going to be hot and who's going to be like, looking at like a team like Clay right now. At one point during the league, I would have picked him because like if he was going to sneak in, his team wasn't playing very well, but the last 2-3 weeks he scored, I think last 2 weeks he scored over 200 points. So if he's doing that going into the playoffs, I'm going to stay away from a team like that. I mean, at that point.
Well, plus you got, that it gives you a few minutes to look at, who their teams are playing, what their matchups are, who's hurt. I mean, it gives you all kinds of advantages. So finishing first, second, definitely a big advantage. Third, at least if you're third, you get, you have to pick between two teams, and then fourth, just get stuck with the last team left. But it makes you keep playing through that, Kevin. And we've done it. This is the third year we've done it. Fourth, maybe. I'm trying to think. Actually, I think we've done it since the year you left, Kevin.
Yeah.
That we've done that. Reed,
I like it.
Last year, where'd you finish, Reed?
I wasn't in it last year.
Oh, that's
I
right.
was going to say he
on-
wasn't in there. Yeah.
So Reed probably hasn't been in it since we've done this either, have you?
No, I was in it a long time ago.
Right. When we
Oh,
just
like
did
3 years ago, right? I thought it was only 3 years.
I thought it was only 3 too.
I think you were in it when we were around together.
That's when it was. Yeah, it's been a long time.
Maybe 4
I
or
think
5
you
years.
guys. I think you guys started the first year I played. That was 3 years ago.
Yes, it was. Well, was it?
I
No,
made the
you weren't
playoffs the first
playing
year I
then.
played. No, I wasn't playing when you guys were playing.
Right.
I've been in it for 3 years now.
TJ, you've been how many years now?
I think 3. I think as long as Magel.
You guys, I thought you came in a year before Magel. That's the year we drafted for you. Now, you technically
Okay,
didn't
yeah,
do very
yeah.
good. You really didn't actually do anything that year, but you did
Yeah.
have
My first draft year I did good. I think Zach helped out with going to the hospital, giving me a good draft.
Now that was
Well, that was year 2.
yeah, that was year 2, right? That was just 2 years ago. That was an experience.
That was the first year I drafted. So then it
Oh,
has been
right.
pretty
The
good.
other years though, we drafted auto pick for you
Yeah.
the year before. So, all right, Magel. I mean, you are one of those teams now. You obviously are pretty much a must win the next few weeks. Are you feeling confident?
Yeah, I got Brody this week, so we'll see. I feel pretty strong with the team, and I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. Everybody has their strongest game usually with me lately, so we'll just see how it goes, and hopefully Brody has a weak game, and we'll go from there.
Brody, what do you think I have in your week game?
I am actually predicting I'm going to have a weak game this week.
I'm rooting for Magel. I want the number 1 pick. Then I'll beat Zach.
Just based off of some matchups, I think I'm going to lose this one and I'll win against TJ probably by 60 or 80 points.
Right. And Jim, you're just a few wins from being where you'd be, up to as close to a 4th seed. If you would pull out if you would pull out a win this week against me and 2, you'd actually finish above me. So, you have a couple more wins. You put 7 in a row, you'll be in the top, 3 or 4 team. Who do you play next week, Jim? Do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Oh, I know. I got you. I wouldn't be looking ahead if I was playing me this week either. I probably wouldn't look that far ahead either. But it's a little scary. You got some good players on bye this week, and that kind of helps me a little bit. I think your kicker's on bye, and I know how much you love those kickers. So I'm a little, but I don't have a kicker yet either. I mean, I was going to ask you if you want. I have played fantasy in the nude and kickerless. I'm willing to do both this week, Jim, if you want. I'll commit to kickerless if you want to commit to kickerless.
Yeah, I'll commit to kickerless and plug him in at the last minute.
I got you. The words of a Nissan salesman.
I think you guys should play fantasy football nude together.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I'll be at Magel's house that Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday.
Yeah, Zach, were you home when Mark was
No, that
playing
must have been another.
Nothing
day
like
that I was
playing
at Magel's
fantasy in the
house.
nude. Give me a break.
I sold 2 cars today. I'm feeling squirrely.
Whoa. Did you give out some keychains?
Nah.
No. Oh, all right. Magel, is
Yeah.
fantasy football getting, I was pretty excited when you made a comment last week that you were in a tree stand and you still were willing to commit to a little fantasy football. I think that tells you how fun it gets, right? You get a little addicted and you want to know what's going on.
Yeah, well, I actually have 2 tree stands, and the one where I've been seeing the really big buck, I don't get any reception, and the other one over in Tip City, I do. So I went to Tip City.
Just so you would have.
Just so that I would have some. I still had a chance at shooting a nice buck, which I did see a monster again tonight. So, yeah, I'm.
Wait a minute. You saw a monster.
Yeah, as I was walking into
my
my stand, he was standing by my stand. I needed to be 20 minutes earlier.
You got to chase that little bitch down.
He ain't a little bitch. He's
big. Big racks on that boy.
Yeah.
Huh. All right. Well, good luck. I'm waiting for some jerky.
Probably enough deer. Probably enough deer for a belt, I would assume. Then
enough deer for a belt? No. Oh. All right. Wait. Let me get a crayport. 2 crayports on the screen at one time really do distract me. Magle.
Haha, TJ's gone.
Magle. I got step one. Step one.
Oh shit.
I now have a League of Anarchy official.
Very nice.
That's all mine.
And
that's all mine.
We are closer. I talked to Jeff. I had to get this piece, so now we can get a stand where we can get let's see what a champion would look like. I don't want to.
No, you're not allowed.
I don't want to.
Yeah. You're losing to me.
Bro, boys, bring me some brew. Yes, Mr. Brackman. What do you think?
Did you Amazon Prime that? You were talking about that on Saturday, and it's already here.
Yeah.
You
about had to.
When you're talking, see, it's got like some Saints rings on there.
Gosh.
I mean,
that's nice.
That's Game of Thrones, man.
This is the League of Anarchy official goblet. Now, that thinks it's too small. It's 9 inches. 9 inches with a big head. I'm just saying, it's not. It holds 8 ounces of liquid. I haven't sprayed 8 ounces of liquid in so long. I'm not even sure what that would mean, but I'm just saying. You buy me a pitcher, I'll pour it in my. This will be at Skipper's.
Only liquor. Only liquor.
Yeah, right. Oh, it's perfect for rum and Coke or something. You can mix right in this. But anybody other than Zach thinks it's too small, is there anybody that has a problem with the beginning of the League of Anarchy goblet trophy?
I think you put it on a block of wood and then you get plaques to engrave on it. I think you're good to go.
Did you see it? We did. Clay posted that, and I'm gonna it'll be like a trophy bottom, but it'll be big, and there'll be a big thing across to say League of Anarchy Fantasy Football Champions, and then on the edges will be people's names that have won it, and that will include. Hold on, let me get champions up here. Let me see. Brackman is a champion. I'm a champion. Zach's a champion.
I'm a 2-time appear, so
Chase,
kind of like a champion.
Chase, we've lost. Who knows? But we'll get Chase's name on there. Kyle is a champion. We'll get Kyle's name on there. Is that it? Zach's 2. I'm 1. That'd be 3. Martin would be 4. Kyle would be 5.
Clay won.
Clay has never
won.
I thought he won the first year or something.
No, Zach won the first year. Brackman won the second year. Chase Martin won the third year. I won the 4th. Right?
Yep.
So we've only had 5. This is year 6 then, right?
I thought we had. I don't
There's
know.
no way this is only year 6.
Then name me another champion.
I've won twice.
That right? We got that. 2. I've won 1. That's 3. Kyle is 4. Chase is 5. Brackman would be 6.
I've been in Evansville. I've been in Evansville now 8 years.
Okay, right. I just did it right. That would be 6. So this would be the 7th year. So those are the names that would be on it, right?
Yeah.
Right. I'll get that. We're working. We are working towards having a trophy that you guys will be responsible for to bring to the draft and everything.
A trophy with a shot glass on top.
If you are out and about and another member of the Anarchy League sees you, well, you know what? Buy me a beer and put it in the goblet, bitches. That's all I gotta say.
Only half the beer. Unfortunately,
I see Magle more than anybody else. So Magle, be prepared to by me. Right. It holds 8 ounces, but that's fine. 8 ounces. I'll pour it twice. I'm not hard up. But
Hey, funny, Brackman, because I don't ever catch on to the thing over here until we're halfway through the show. And yes, I've read a couple of those books. I do know how to read. Not the ones back there, but yeah.
Good catch, Megal.
Yeah.
Did you see my comment?
No.
Well, that's
still
right.
reading.
We have a chat room that other people can't see or read or be involved in. Now, TJ, will a Crayport's name be on the trophy this year?
Oh yeah, definitely. Probably not Brody's. I would assume it's going to be mine. Brody's about to lose twice to me in the same year, which will be great.
Who cares?
Yeah, he lost.
Year.
Yep. Brody's had the easiest. He's second least points allowed. I mean,
Most points 4. Most points 4.
yeah, but
Conversation.
Brody, you said you would pick Zach if it was today. Your brother wouldn't be part of that thought process, Zach, or your brother?
He would, if Zach doesn't make it, TJ actually, I mean, I haven't looked deeply into it, but TJ would probably be the second choice. His team,
okay. I mean, if he wants to lose 3 times to me in the same season, I mean, I guess it's kind of like the Steelers beating the Bengals twice during the regular season, then again in the playoffs. So that makes sense.
All I'm saying is if I get to play TJ or Zach, you're going to see me holding that cup with a big Super Bowl ring next to it, baby. I'll take off the wedding ring just for the Super Bowl ring.
I still think the Crayports are going to have to beat a Pricer before it's all over, and I'm not sure that's going to happen. Reed,
Zach, that's an easy.
Reed, we're going to go to the other end here. What is your thought process on making the playoffs?
I'm fucked.
That might
I mean, I've just been
commentary we've had.
I just literally that's all I've been is
You started out awesome.
I have the second most points for, but the most points against. If you want your record-breaking week, just play me because you will get that every time. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. Josh Allen, record game last week. Who's he playing? Me. Never fails. Every time.
Now, do you know who you playing this week? I do have it up
If
here.
if I lose this week, then I really am done. If I lose to Tharp, that would be sad.
Okay, yes, you have Kyle. Kyle right now isn't the most competitive. Kyle's committed to being out. Me and Kyle made a little bit of a uproar in the chat room today with our trade. And a few people thought we should talk about it today. I don't even know where we want to start. Host Smasher, what do you want to discuss the trade that went down today or something else?
Quick thought about Tharp. So I know you just presented us with our championship goblet. Obviously, Tharp is going to be taking home the toe ring. Have we secured that yet?
No, the toe ring has not been secured because I have never shopped for a toe ring. So I really don't know the process. I'm not even sure what you measure for a toe ring.
You measure your toe. We'll measure his toe and we'll get a ring.
I really feel that the toe ring should be gifted, meaning I think the loser should just keep it, and then the next year another toe ring be purchased. Are we going to force the loser to buy the toe ring, or how? I guess we didn't think this through. How are we going to, move forward on the toe ring?
I'm not sure. Go on, TJ.
I would buy the toe ring if I won. I mean, it doesn't have to be expensive.
Yeah, they're cheap.
Yeah,
I'm looking right.
It can't be plastic, though.
The champion has to buy the toe ring for the last place. Is that what we're going with?
Yeah.
It's got to be custom too, like a record engraving or
No.
like ice stuck, something like that.
No, I don't.
Now
I
we're
don't
looking more
custom.
expensive.
I don't want custom because I don't want a new toe ring every time. I want the next year he gets last place. He's got this nasty ass toe ring.
I agree with that.
The same toe ring. Megal, would the toe ring make you less manly when you're sitting up in a tree stand?
No, not at all.
No,
I don't sit up there barefoot.
So the big bucks don't really. They wouldn't laugh at you, is what.
Hey, if I was wearing that and a big buck came in, I'd wear it every hunting season.
I got you.
Guaranteed.
You're a superstitious hunter.
Oh yeah.
Right. I can live with that. All right. The trade that went down today. Anybody have? Again, definitely it lit up, and now it lit up the chat room a little bit because I mean he's not here. But Kyle screwed up, and I had officially offered one trade. Then we decided on the full package deal, but he accepted the wrong one. So he originally, and I mean, if people paid attention, I mean, the original thing I offered was just Henry for Mac. And he questioned that, went back and forth, and said a few other people were offering him things. So he wasn't sure that was going to work out. Then I came up, we did what ended up being the final offer. I told him about that one, and that confused him. So he said he was going to need to think about it a little bit. And then I did read the text, but I left my phone there. His exact words were, I waited because Clay had an offer. Fuck that offer. I'm going to take your offer. And before I could do anything, he accepted the wrong offer. So that's why it literally came in two different things. It really was one big trade, and not two little trades.
All you got to do is just message him privately, talk him into it, make him think that he's getting some type of deal, and he's going to accept it. It does not matter. That's what I've learned, because every time I see a trade go through with him, I'm like nervous. I'm like, all right, who did he just give up?
So you don't like the trade? What do you think the trade wasn't fair or was fair? What's your opinion then on the trade itself, Reed?
It's not even that one. There was one like 2 weeks ago or something that I was just like, what the hell is he doing? But I'd have to go back and look. And somehow he has Henry back now. Or he did.
Yeah, he gave Henry back. I traded him Henry like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I've got Henry back now. I can't remember. I make so many trades. I don't think I have but one person on my team that I started with. I think that was my number one pick, Kelsey. I really don't think I have anyone else on my team. So I'm not the person to ask what I traded 2 days ago, let alone a week. But did the chat room go off because all of you seemed to just be with it or fine with the trade? Was it just the fact that nobody knew what went on with the additional trade picks for next year? Everett, what about you? You were one that originally was a little upset in the chat room. Was it just not knowing exactly went down? The player to be named later, did that throw you off?
Well, at first I thought, I literally, like, when Kyle first made it, I was like, so he just really doesn't want Jimmy to win. Because obviously I didn't know the details. I was like, so Kyle just forgot how to do fantasy football, and just you traded him your 2 injured players for his 2 players, and that was that. I kind of thought it was, but then, I mean, once you said the details, I think it'll definitely help him for the draft next year. So
right. I mean, a 5th round pick is a pretty valuable pick. I mean, there's a lot of good players that go in the 5th round, and he gets a 5th round keeper. So he's technically getting 2 players in the 5th round. So, I don't think it was terrible. Jim, what's your opinion then?
My opinion, I mean, overall, I don't think it was an unfair trade. I don't think he got screwed over or anything like that. That being said, he's mostly banking on that trade for next year, in which he's just going to make 2 5th-round retarded draft picks.
That's not going to help him. That's not my problem.
And secondly, I'm more just pissed. Like, I was just hanging out with the dude last night. I could have easily offered him a similar thing, but of course I wasn't aware that we could even trade draft picks because we have a corrupt commissioner that doesn't explain these things.
There's no explanation.
So, I mean, it's just one of the other reasons I've had to claw myself into playoff contention as a rookie. So
you're blaming the fact that you don't know the rules. Now, I will admit, and me and Kyle talked, I said, Kyle, this has never happened before. This is like a history-making move in the league, and a few people will maybe question it. But hey, anybody knows me knows I'll open the door on a trade, and I'll figure out something. Kevin, what's your stance?
So I was curious: is his 5th round pick that he's receiving from you, okay, outside of his 5th round keeper, is it a keeper pick for the future, or it will not be?
No, he gets Marlon Mack,
who is a keeper.
Who was a keeper in the 5th round. The problem is, if that's your 5th round keeper, then you don't get a pick in the 5th round. I mean, that is your pick.
Mm-hmm.
So
he'll get your pick.
So to make the trade as fair as possible, I then gave him a 5th. I mean, I understand the 2 players I'm getting right now. I have to win it this year because I'm losing a 5th round pick. So next year in the 5th round, he will get Marlon Mack, and then wherever my pick is, he'll get to pick another player. So he's technically going to get, and Marlon Mack should go 4th, 3rd, maybe next year. You know,
I would agree.
So he will get those 2 picks in the 5th round. And then obviously I get 2 10th round picks. I get his 10th because obviously you've got to switch picks to make it even on the draft board. So he had to give me something back. And I made that a 10th. So, and that means in the 5th round, I don't get anybody. You know, I mean, in the 5th round, while you guys are all drafting, I will just pull this up.
Yeah, right.
And slowly sip on my championship brewski.
It'll go pretty quick. There's not much.
That's fine. I don't mind. I might be 57.
Just keep on refilling, man.
I might be 57, but I can reload my gun when I need to. I will just keep, Heineken and that shit up. I'm capable.
A couple questions about the trades. So is there somewhere that's documenting where you guys traded these draft picks? That way there's no confusion next year when we draft.
The commissioner,
Clay, right?
Commissioner writes it down. Just like when you came to the draft this year and Clay had all these trades that and moves he did. So yes, Clay keeps track of it.
Second question, are we going to discuss whether or not the trade deadline's being pushed?
Yeah, that was it. Now, I was waiting to do later because I didn't know if Clay was going to be on, and obviously to discuss it without a commissioner makes it a little harder because that's actually technically now it's a rule change that maybe shouldn't need to be changed because it probably got changed by mistake. Does that make sense? We decided 2 years ago to make our trade deadline the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. That way everybody just knew. Once the holidays came, no more trading. So we decided because everybody would ask, when's the trade deadline? When do we stop trading? What's going on? Well, we decided to make it the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. And then that way, you know what? Any Christmas gifts or any holiday things you wanted to do, you had to do before Thanksgiving. Again, Clay was going to look it up to know, if that was exactly the truth, even though me and Zach have talked, we know we changed it.
I know we changed it too. Yeah.
But Clay's point is, unfortunately, you have to change that every season. Every year, Clay needs to change it. And he just left it defaulted to ESPN's trade deadline, which is this Friday. So it really comes down to, other than Magel, me and Magel talked about it the other day, and I don't think I didn't notice it till Magel brought it up, because in my mind, I thought it was next Wednesday. And then I said something to Magel this week, and he goes, well, yeah, the deadline's Friday, right? And I went, hell, I don't know. And I went and looked it up and went, oh, shit, it is Friday, which technically is not what I thought it should have been. So the key is, do we change it back to what we knew it should, what we thought it always, had been, or do we leave it what's been posted and people have been playing under? Kevin, you got your hand up. What's your opinion?
I think we should keep it as next week, only because with it being such a tight race.
Time out. Wait a minute. When you say keep it as next week,
I mean,
if we keep it, that's this week. If
go
we
back,
change it, it's next week.
Change it to next week.
Which would be next week.
Next week. Sorry. Because with it being such a tight race, guys are going to lose this week and have to set themselves up for next year.
Okay.
I mean,
I don't want anyone setting up for next year. Screw them.
Well, that's the point. Right now, there's people that would agree with you and people who wouldn't, because obviously the pros and cons are, if we change it to next week, there's still going to be some activity go on that can affect the playoffs a little bit more, because obviously this week's going to be hard for too many people because everybody, one person's still in the race. Mm-hmm. But the argument against, or the argument for what Brackman says is, I don't think anyone else in here, if we hadn't brought it up, wouldn't have known the difference anyway. How many of you knew it was this Friday anyway?
I did not know.
Magel knew, and Magel told me, because I'd have told you it was next Wednesday.
I thought it was Thanksgiving.
Yep, because
I remember. Yeah, that's what I thought.
So, and we truly voted on it that it would be the week of Thanksgiving. So if we want to say bylaws or say it was something, I do know it was something we voted on and decided. Jim, as someone new coming to the league, do you care, or what's your opinion? Because you haven't been here before. This is your first year, and you already said you don't know any of our rules, but do you have a problem with when the trade deadline is?
Yeah, I really hope it gets pushed back because, I mean, while I've had some good wins lately, roster strength-wise, I'd really like to be able to know, can I qualify for the playoffs and make a decent push, or should I start trying to build myself up for next year? And a question that also brings to me is, let's say I start making some trades for draft picks. I know we have an 18-team roster. So let's say I trade, I don't know, I find out I'm not going to make the playoffs or I can't win, and I make 3 trades and I end up, let's say 19 draft picks. How does that work?
Well, that's what I said earlier. When me and Kyle made the trade today, I couldn't just give him my 5th round pick and leave it at that. He had to then give me another pick, which we decided on the 10th. You know what I'm saying? So me and him both have 18. Now you can have more than one in a round, you can do whatever, but we've always decided, because it's just easier for Clay too when he enters the things into ESPN, because ESPN won't let you put one more on somebody's team than another. So we've just always decided at the end of the draft, we all have to have the same number of players. So now my argument, or the answer to that would be, until the day of the draft, you could have an extra pick, meaning you could still trade one of those picks, the day of the draft if you wanted, so it's just the day of the trade or the day of the draft before the draft starts. Everyone has to have 18 spots. And if you have an extra one, mine are going to be, then you lose it once the draft starts. Or at least you couldn't trade anything until the end of the trade, meaning you could trade at any time until the draft was over and you would just lose that pick. But it's a little unique because we really haven't gone down that rabbit hole.
Can you trade draft picks after the trade deadline?
Yes. As far as I know, you can trade draft picks all the way up to the draft, because
we traded this year. I traded one at draft day.
Yeah, they traded draft day. So now the argument might be, I think, why the season's going on. I don't think it's fair to have Clay, in the middle of, February, go and write down some weird trade combination. But I would assume we can trade picks, through the rest of the season. The problem is, after draft day, once I'm in the playoffs, trading you a pick doesn't help me any. I need players. And if you can't trade a player anymore after Friday or Wednesday, you can't really help me. And I'm not going to give you a pick for no reason. So you'd really need to do that before, or like Megal did, a day or two or a week or two before the draft. Then you could say, hey, I've got 2 decent picks and I'll trade them to somebody for 1 keeper and another pick. So that would kind of be the way that would work in my book. Is there anybody, I know Brody already said, and I'll put him back up, any of the 6 I have on the screen now against changing it and keeping it back to what most of us would have thought the normal one anyway, which would be next Wednesday? Anybody have a problem with it being next Wednesday? I don't have a problem.
And we've got a majority. We can vote on it.
Well, I mean, there's 6 right there, so we technically would only need 1 more. Then
Clay hadn't got back to me yet.
All right, Clay. Brody, are you technically for or against? I understand, your thought process, but
no, I'm for it being Thanksgiving. I was just saying,
right? I think that's really what it is.
Yeah, I was just saying that because this year it would work in my favor if nobody else does any trades after this week. But yeah, I don't really care. But I think because it definitely was Thanksgiving last year and maybe even the year before that. But yeah, I'm for next week, not this week.
Right. I know it's been at least 2 years, because I think it was 2 years ago that I had traded Stafford away, and then Stafford, that was the Thanksgiving where Stafford threw like 6 touchdown passes on Thanksgiving Day. And I'm like, I just traded him last night. It's like, it was like, that's the way it happens on Thanksgiving. TJ, you've been around a few years. Do you have a problem one way or the other?
I'm for moving it to next week.
All right.
As well.
Which would be Wednesday night. I don't know that we even made it. I think ESPN cuts it off technically at like 3:00 in the morning, which would be Thursday morning, but because I don't think it'll pass anything after that.
Hey, we'll make a big trade on Wednesday night then, because I usually see you every Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
and I see some of you money that night too. Man.
Is there a poker game we don't know about?
Yes.
Yeah, it's only
poker.
been going on for like 25 years now. I think we've I know I talked to you about it last year. You and Stoss were in Skippers. Behind the eyeglass store is Kleinfelder's building, the old fire station. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. On the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, there's a poker / ping pong / hangout. It's
at the old fire station on Front Street. Front Street.
Yeah. It sounds bad to say a male only thing, but it has been a male only thing for a long time. It's kind of a traditional.
So how are the Crayports there?
The Crayports are there.
Well, I tend to take all the money at poker every year I go.
Warren, no, it really comes down to because they're the sons of one of the original founding members of the party. Warren can't stay awake anymore to come, but his kids come. Warren was one of the original people 25 years ago. We used to play basketball Wednesday nights at Sarver's Barn. All right. On Wednesday nights, we played basketball at Sarver's Barn. And then that happened to be one of the Wednesday nights before Thanksgiving. I bought a turkey fryer 25 years ago, and Steve Stoss ran to the store on Wednesday and bought a turkey and said, we're going to test it tonight. So we about burnt my deck down that night, and the tradition was then built and then started. And every Wednesday night before Thanksgiving now, we have cooked a turkey. We did it the first 3 or 4 years on my deck, and then we moved it because it got cold a few Novembers, and now we moved it to Kleinfelder's barn. And we used to play basketball, and then after basketball, we'd go to the barn and cook and eat food and play poker and drink beer, play ping pong. And it does last till 2, 3, 4 in the morning. I've gotten home sometimes right when the sun's coming up.
Sounds like fun.
It is fun, and anybody's more than welcome. And bring some money to help me fill my God.
Hey, there's no drinking out of that until we crown a winner. So
I didn't.
We need to let Mark drink out of it, and then he curses himself, and then
curses himself. Kyle or Reed, you have a problem with the movement of the trade deadline?
No, that's cool.
Right. So I would say at this point, we are definitely a majority.
That's good.
And we just need to tell Clay that we're going to go through next Wednesday. And he can change it to that day. Because then obviously that, Tuesday and Wednesday should be pretty active next week. I really thought there'd be more activity this week. What happened? Did just nobody could? A lot of people tonight have said they've sent trades out or saw trades. I think it's hard right now because all of you need to win, right? I mean, the trade obviously has to be in your favor for this week and obviously going into the playoffs. And that's hard to do when you're all still in it.
I saw trades from 4 different people.
4 different people that you saw?
I mean, toward me.
Right.
And I'm currently in the works with one person right now.
All right. So is there any?
That's me.
And Brody raises his hand. Is there any chance we see a trade happen in the next 15 minutes before the show's over?
Not before the show's over.
Not before the show's over.
I'm just curious. And I know Jim said he did. Reed, have you had trade offers today? Did you say?
Maybe just the typical one from Clay. Same old one.
The same old one.
AJ Brown.
You
AJ Brown Coleman for Josh Jacobs.
You cannot say that Clay doesn't try, right? I mean,
yeah, I will. But every time I get that vibrate and I see it's ESPN, I already know what it is.
Okay. Everett, did you get trade offers or make trade offers today?
Not today, no. But I decline Clay's trades that he sends every
Tuesday.
Yeah.
I did not get an offer from Clay today. Now again,
Nope.
I noticed
You declined mine, Zach.
Oh yeah, yours was terrible. That was a horrible trade, Megal.
I was just.
But
Oh my
yeah, I think it's easy
Clay
to
was
tell.
coaching me.
It's easy. Yeah, no shit. It's easy to tell who Clay's trying to trade because it's like, if you get a trade from Clay, it means that he's trying to trade that person or those 2 people to everybody else.
No, I just need a tight end.
Was that a stuffed animal you had, Zach?
Yeah, it's Tylen. So you left it here.
That's cute.
That
Thanks,
is-
dude.
And I am going to make a quick announcement. We'll end the podcast at about an hour long. But on YouTube, if you're watching this YouTube live, I think I'm going to keep the after show still live on YouTube because someone said it last week. Might even been Magel. The after show, the 20 minutes after the show, sometimes is as entertaining or more entertaining than
I
the
like
whole
it.
hour.
Yeah, I think it's better because we don't have to watch what we say, which now we kind of do.
Well, that's
Yeah.
see, and that's why I
Yeah.
thought, well, I'll try it by ending the podcast.
Are
Just
we
don't
supposed
tell
to be
us.
watching it?
No, you don't have to watch it.
Oh,
You
no,
have to
we're supposed to be
No, I
watching our
mean-
mouth and stuff.
No,
Oh,
that's
okay.
why I do
You
it.
know what words you can say and can't say. That's all I'm saying.
Right. Be careful, Magel. Be careful. I don't want you to get in trouble. Nobody here gets in trouble.
Oh, are we live?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Me and TJ did a little math.
TJ did math.
Of all the we are total downloads, YouTube views, live listens. TJ, what did we come up with? A 96 or something last week?
You got to get him in here.
I will. Let me get him in there. Was it 96? I forget now the number.
I think it was 92.
92. All right. So
Almost 100.
right. The goal is to have about 100. Now, I don't know how many of those are you guys clicking on shit, but still, I don't think it matters, right? As long as we say we had at least 100.
I
You know.
think it's me tweeting out the show.
That's
That's,
right.
how
Oh yeah, it's definitely you. Your,
I mean,
your Twitter
no-
following is huge.
no one
Yeah,
else
he's
besides
got a
Mark
big
and
Twitter
I.
following.
No
I
one
know.
else besides Mark and I are putting the show out. You
But
guys,
right, I said it's everybody's show.
Yeah.
And I gave you all the link to either tweet it or Facebook it. Have your grandma or grandpa log in and watch you something. Let's get those views up. You know,
I've shared it on Facebook every week.
and your
nobody
gr-
gets on
in
Facebook.
fact, your
except
grandma
old
still
people.
doesn't know how to watch it. You might have to go.
She's
you know,
asked me the last 3 weeks how to watch it too, and I just keep telling her I don't know.
Kevin, we need some Indiana viewership. So, work on it. You got like a classroom full of kids. Make it their damn homework.
Yeah, that's exactly what they need to do. Listen to our mouths.
Fantasy football's good, Matt. What do you teach now? I guess I do have to ask. What's your specialty there, Teach?
English all day.
English. Oh,
How old?
yeah. All right. Definitely don't have your students watch this. I thought, if it was math, maybe we could talk to them about
Is it high school?
Yeah, I think age matters.
Fifth.
Oh
Fifth
yeah, they can
grade.
listen. They can
Oh.
listen to the podcast.
There's no
grader.
problem with that.
Yeah,
Fifth
that's on
grader.
the
They're
verge.
from Southern Indiana.
Yeah.
That's about like West Milton.
Fifth graders say worse than we do. So I'm not too worried about it. So that's it. So we've the trade went through today. No one has a problem with trading picks. Everyone was fine with. We've traded the trade deadline's now been set. Is there anything else we need to work on? For the league for the next few weeks. The last thing I was going to bring up though also was the viewer party for the week 13. If it comes to that, I do have everything. I mean, my problem is my company's moving and our week keeps getting moved back. Thanks to Greene County passing our gas test, but I'm hoping I'm not moving then, but if we have to, I have the TVs here and everything's already up and doing. And Kyle's going to be in last place. He asked for pulled pork, so I'll try to make that happen if that's what we do. Everett, do you have a problem with any of that?
No, but I was gonna say that Grandma did just text me and she is listening, so I've just been caught.
Oh no.
Just been caught.
Oh, now I feel bad.
Telling your grandma. My mom.
She taught us all the curse words, Clint. So
I know. I think I've been there a couple times.
Trust me, your grandma's seen worse. You know what I'm talking about, Zach.
Come on, is word. All right. Well, let's I said I really didn't prepare this week because I thought we'd be discussing all that. But the big question I just had today, I just put in the comments, adding Kevin. We've now had Kevin in the league for a while now, and I talked to Zach. I don't know. I think it's worked out better that we didn't have an orphan team. I know there's a few people that maybe would make the playoffs if Kevin's actually won a few games and is being competitive. Hold on, I'm going to bump Kevin out because we don't need to hear him talk about himself. But what do you guys think? Did we make the right choice? I just kind of want to know, a couple weeks passed now, has it helped the league by having Kevin? And be honest, I mean, that's the way this league is. Or do you think the Orphan League would have been a better option? Anybody?
Overall, I'd say it's probably a good move. I was against it because it's the week I was playing that team, of course, and then I ended up losing. So I would have got an easy win out of it, like the people 3 weeks prior to that got. But
there was wins. There was wins.
Garrett won the other week, so it wasn't.
Well, I can't help that Ben's team sucks and couldn't score more than 90 points. So
yeah, that was. If you can't score more, at least I don't score many points. But if you can't score 100 against you, there's nothing you're safe against.
A game where neither team scores over 100, I think they both should get losses. But that's a whole nother story. Brody, what about you? Do you think we did the right thing?
I was for it in the beginning, but yeah, I think we did because I like seeing, I mean, he's even joining the podcast and like hanging out. So I think that's cool. And, he's really active and he's been winning games. So, I mean, I think it's good for the league.
Right. And we have Garrett Jr. here tonight. Garrett, because the real Garrett never showed up for the podcast. So, we do appreciate Reed coming on. Reed, what about you? You weren't that vocal when it happened because I don't think you were on the podcast the week we discussed it. What's your thoughts on the fact that we brought someone into the league rather than having an orphan team?
I mean, at first it was just a matter of everyone was getting free wins and I never got mine. That was the only issue I had with it, but
it's one person did.
Yeah, right. That's right. Still only one person. Now, I know a lot of you were looking ahead and penciling the win in already.
Yeah, or whatever. And then the fact that whole trade Clay got with Michael Thomas for
that does seem to still hit hard a little bit, but
like what was that? That clearly was him telling Garrett, like, hey, before you stop, send me these people.
Well, again, we can't. That's neither one of us.
Could have been Garrett offering the trade too, and got pissed off and said, "Clay's the only guy doing anything for me," so he sent it to him. Or maybe it was just he wanted to send it and said, "Fuck it," to piss people off.
Which is why we made the decision we made. I mean,
I thought it was a great idea. I was for it, and I'd rather have somebody that's going to be in it. And
I told Zach that today. We can't discuss anything that really happened before bringing Kevin. It really is bringing Kevin. And like I said, Kevin's been active. He's trying to make his team better.
Oh, yeah, I agree. It's just he should have Michael Thomas on his team. He wouldn't have made that.
If he had Michael Thomas on his team, there's a few of you that might not have wins now too. I mean, he has done well, but
the fact it's the big, and he's a keeper, right?
No.
It was a first round draft pick.
And that's the point, right? Now,
I looked him up and it said he was drafted 7th.
No,
I don't think so.
Why does it say that?
Second round pick, so I'll bring Kevin back in. Kevin, have you enjoyed being active? And again, I think that's the point too. I think it was better for the league to have somebody active and trying. And I know today, like you said, 4 people offered trades. Those trades could have been offered if you weren't managing the team. Everyone would know, well, it's a dead team. So has it worked out well for you? Obviously, coming in halfway in the middle of the season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's when I took over and Clay had kind of reached out to me and asked me to take over. It was a puzzle and I didn't have a lot of pieces to it. And so I had to make certain trades with some guys in order to then get other positions. So, I mean, I've enjoyed it because I've kind of pieced together a ragtag group. I'm running with both of Dallas's receivers who have actually the last 2 weeks.
Who have the Patriots this week.
Don't remind me. But I'm winning games with guys I probably shouldn't be winning with, but I'm having a good time. So I think though, as I've expressed, I'm not sure. I've never met Garrett, and I'm not talking bad about Garrett. He traded his first 4 draft picks, his players, away before he was done, and got nobody in return for them.
I know. I mean, but nobody hears. Again, that was
Garrett. That was Garrett.
If Garrett. He didn't even when he was playing, he didn't participate. I don't think he ever came on the podcast. He was in the chat room just a time or two. I think he made one early trade. When I say that, besides those trades, and I think that was pretty much it. But which that's my point. In this league, and that's what we've said a couple podcasts ago, I think now the commitment to this league has to be when there's a change and a new player come on board, that now needs to also be somewhat of a vote, meaning we just can't allow somebody to bring their friend in or something without there being some communication and letting that new person know what we expect out of them. And are they willing to accept that? Jim is unfortunately fit right in. I hate the bastard, but he has fit right in and he's accepted. And I think quickly Jim understands, okay, they kind of know what they're doing. And we like to have a little fun, a little talk, and we have a goblet. I mean, those are things that you just have to be able to accept. Jim, is that true? Are you've now accepted this league? You almost own this league now, right?
Oh, I mean, when it's all said and done, I will. The goblet will be mine. But
mine.
No, it's a fun league. I agree with you. I think, if you're going to be in this league because it's a serious league, it's something you need to take seriously. And you're not going to be that person to where, maybe 7-8 weeks in, you're going to make. So what if the toe ring's guaranteed? You've committed to the league. Maybe at that point you start preparing for the next season, getting keepers, getting picks. Don't just give away, and not get anything in return. Which, in Garrett's defense, he did get Antonio Brown. Even though he's not actually an NFL player, he could be a great fantasy player. Yeah,
but he's not a keeper either. But again, that trade even is irrelevant to me. It's just the way the leagues run. We do have Clay, our commissioner, has popped in real quick the last 5 minutes of the show. Clay, we did have a majority vote tonight, and we've decided the trade deadline is going to be set for next Wednesday. Is that something you're able to change?
Next Wednesday, or I thought we were. It's fine whatever we decide. I thought we were doing. It wasn't last year. It was Thanksgiving.
Well, we've always done the Wednesday night.
Before. That's fine. I just wanted to. I know I'm coming in late.
The holiday hit, there's no more trading. Meaning,
okay.
Thanksgiving Day, you're not sitting there looking and trying to make deals. We're done. That's
okay. At what time are we doing it? At midnight?
I didn't know if ESPN allowed that. I thought ESPN's day deadline technically was like 3 a.m. in the morning. So
okay, I'll mess with it.
I think that gives them a couple hours to make it go through, because most leagues don't push a trade through like we do, So
gotcha.
I kind of would agree with you as a commissioner. We could say, hey, you know what, guys, try to have it in by midnight. So that when the commissioner goes to bed, we know there's no one's going to be texting in the morning and say, well, me and Jim made a trade at, 3:40 and we think it should be pushed through. Maybe if you could set it for midnight, that's probably good.
Yeah, if I can, I'll have to look at it.
I think you can only set a date.
Yeah.
But, and then, hey, if it don't go through, don't go through. It's on you. Yeah. That would be on us. I mean, get it done Wednesday in the daytime or Tuesday night. So,
but we need to know if he can't get it done.
Yeah, I mean, I'm almost positive you can change the trade.
I know I can change it. I just didn't know about the time.
Yeah, I don't. I just right. I think if you set it for that date, it goes through, because I think ESPN's time it changes. I think it's around 3:00 in the morning where their stuff all kind of flips to a new day. And I think that's because 3:00 a.m. would be West Coast midnight, right?
So, yeah, I believe so.
And I think that's kind of why they do it for us. So I think that's the only commissioner thing, other than I'll ask you, because we were talking, the question 10 tonight kind of was, were we glad that we let Kevin in the league this year rather than run with an orphan team?
Yeah. I mean, I was one of the big ones pushing for Kevin to join. So I know how committed he is to fantasy football. The only reason he stopped was because he couldn't do the live draft anymore and when he moved away. So that was the only reason. We know how committed he is, how much he's talking. He's on the podcast. So yeah, I think it was a great addition.
Yeah, I agree. He's been active. So it's been fun having him. And I figured, like I said, I got told Zach, an orphan team right now would suck. There's a lot of everybody's in it. Kevin's trying to make trades today too, like everyone else. Versus
Garrett was already an orphan team. Let's be honest.
Yeah, but Kevin could his schedules the last 2 weeks are pretty easy. He has a very good chance of.
Wait a minute, let me get Zach in there. Pretty easy because
Zach's done. We know that.
Yeah, Zach is done. I can't agree with that.
He might not accept it yet, but we all know Zach's done.
Oh yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
He's got Zach, and then it's Kyle, right? I believe. Is it Kyle? His last game.
Who do you play last week? The last week.
That's me.
Oh, okay. But either way, it's two teams that are fighting to make it. So he has just a good. He could get in, and someone like Ben could fall out.
Yeah, and Helsinger needs to win now.
Yeah, there's a couple must.
Everybody needs to win technically. Brody, I think Brody's the only assured. Brody, I don't know. They haven't. You haven't got an announcement saying you're guaranteed a playoff spot, have you?
Did they send out those announcements?
Well, I think there's some. Normally, I think you get something. I think it comes up and says you're.
I haven't got anything like that, but I'm pretty sure.
I believe
there's no way I'm out. I don't know how.
No, Brody, Mark, and TJ are the only ones that are guaranteed in.
Oh, we are.
Even
you're
Mark and TJ are.
Where do you see that at then? Where do you see that on the app?
Well, I just know because looking at the standings and how many games that are left.
I thought for sure last year when I think I was first or second, and I thought it came through. I thought I could go when I went to the playoff thing, it would actually say guaranteed, and then it listed who was guaranteed to be in it. And then, but I haven't done that this year.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know. I know Ben and Jimmy, because I was looking at today. I know Ben and Jimmy still have a shot of getting knocked out of playoffs. If they lose out, other teams win out, they could fall.
Right. So right now, the teams that are 9-2, 7-4, and 7-4 are pretty much guaranteed in. Meaning six losses would get you in. Because if I lose the next two, I'd have 6. I'd be 7-6, a winning record. But that should guarantee me a spot still.
Yes.
But like we said earlier in the podcast, though, I would lose the opportunity to pick who I'm playing against.
Yeah.
So that's why the next 2 weeks are actually important to me because I want to have one of those picks. Like I said,
I mean, if you finish second, you could just pick TJ then.
I love. Okay, yeah, TJ left. TJ right under the bus.
Yeah.
Everett, you're not giving up though, right?
No, I think I have. I think my schedule is just as easy as Kevin's schedule.
No, I agree. I was just saying for what Kevin has, it's not like he has to play the top teams though.
Yeah, but neither do I. So how am I out?
I never said you were. I just said it was a shot.
He's out. I literally sent Zach a trade today, and the comment said, "Give up."
I'm not allowed to say what my comment back was because Grandma's on here.
It is an elimination game between Zach and Kevin, though. I would say whoever loses is
that's
out.
Not the only elimination game, right? I mean, what about? I mean, we have Ben playing Helsinger.
We have,
that would be too.
I mean,
we have Clay playing TJ. If Clay loses, he's out.
No, I'm not.
If Clay,
I can lose one more and be fine.
You think you can lose one more?
Yeah. I could because points 4. I think I'm second highest in the league.
Right.
I really do. I'm looking at it now. I actually I have a shot.
Mathematically, no. There's 10 people that are still in this.
Okay.
I would say I agree.
Brody's about the only person that's guaranteed.
I was going to say, there's no way the 7 and 6 teams are.
No, there's 10 people that are still
7 and 4. Okay.
And especially just to make sure I'm right, all you got the rankings are straight by record, then points for, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Not division or any. Oh, we don't even have division.
Yeah, we got rid of division.
So I mean, Reed, if you went out, Reed, and then 2 of these other guys lose out, your points are. I mean, I'm third. You're number 1, and Brody's second.
No, I'm actually second now. So.
Right. I mean, you still need to win 2 games, though. You do need of them, which again makes a difference come trade time. I mean, now you need to make. I mean, you really are playing for every week now, which, like I said earlier, that's probably why we haven't done too many trades today because nobody really can afford.
Yeah, no one knows which way they're going,
and it makes it hard. So
Zach, if you lose this week, are you playing for next year? Then are you going to try and?
I think it depends who loses, though. That's
no, he still has to play because he would play me next week, and if he were to beat me and the 2 others would lose, he'd still be in it if he.
It's going to come down to the last week.
Yeah, I was just trying to see where people's heads are.
I'm just worried about this week. I have not thought about next year at all. So.
I think Kyle's the only one out and Brody's the only one in.
Yep.
Yeah,
I would agree with that. Right. Now, like I said, I do agree that if I lose out and I'm 7 and 6, I have scored quite a few points too.
You'll be in.
Now, like I said, I am playing, I mean, me and Jim luckily I'm hitting Jim this time where, he doesn't have his 2 best players pretty much, and no kicker. But, and then obviously I have, I have Kyle the last week, so that kind of gives me a little advantage, maybe. But hell, anything can happen. It's fantasy. I've seen it. When Brody beat me in the playoffs last year, and I had a great team. I scored like 200 3 weeks in a row, and then my team, I shit the bed with like 118 points. And it was a good team. So it wasn't like it was the playoffs. It wasn't like I had bench people or anything. It just, it can happen, right? I mean, any week.
Oh yeah, you can make, like I did, changes in the last 5 minutes before game time and lose 50 points.
I've said that, Zach, a million times. Sunday
I'm never doing that again.
Are horrible.
I was pissed.
It saved me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. It changes everything sometimes.
Yeah.
So, it makes it, but that's what makes it fun. So, all right. So everyone here is playing. I mean, again, everybody here is playing it out. You have to, which again makes this league fun. Now, I did show this earlier, Clay. Did you see?
Yes, I did. Are we still getting a trophy as well, though?
Well, I think what we're going to do is we're like you showed. I'm going to get. I've already talked to Jeff. I had
to get a trophy and put that on top. I was
talking about. Then we're going to get like a base that it'll sit on top of, and then that base will have the engravings and stuff on it.
Awesome.
Of the past champions. A bunch of Pricers names all over it.
That's fine. I do think we need to put something honoring me as commissioner on it really big, just so we know that I created this league and honoring me.
Or the bullshit you got to put up with.
Yeah, exactly. I should get a trophy for that.
With a big old turd right next to the name.
That's fine.
And that's okay. Then we'll go out on that because I said a comment in the chat today and I'm going to stand behind it. I have made you guys better. You can all just say it. I made this league, but it was just a fun league. And then I came in and realized I think this could be competitive if I think I can learn something and try to, and then come on, you guys all want to beat me now.
I would say that you have made it so a lot of people have gotten so frustrated they quit. I'll give you credit for that.
Okay. I know.
I would say it's a 50 split between
people happy and people
than it is with my dad.
Yeah.
I think some people have had some bad trades that have led them.
I wasn't talking about trades. I was just saying he talks so much shit that people are just like, I'm done. I can't handle this league anymore.
I don't. The thing is, now, if we really went back to how many people have quit, we really haven't had as many as we would think. We've had,
Clay, did you not win a championship? I could have swore you won a championship.
The first year that you're thinking that because you had the perfect record and I knocked you out first round in playoffs is why you think that.
Did you not
Zach
win?
Zach ended up beating. I was in the championship, so I could be like you and brag about one-time appearance.
Yeah, but really never doing anything.
Two.
But I know that means nothing, so I never bring it up because no one gives a shit.
But 2 means a lot.
Oh, okay.
It means absolutely nothing.
It means just as much.
It means you're
first loser twice.
It means you're bad at fantasy that you can get there and just don't know what the hell you're doing.
Hey, like the Bengals
fantasy is like literally, I will say like 40% luck. So
that's from someone that doesn't know what they're doing. Let's say.
Oh, what?
Somebody who relies on their draft way too much.
You haven't been relevant since.
That's the
4 years ago.
Draft and pray.
Brody, you and your brother have both had some of the worst fantasy seasons ever.
I was talking about Clay, but Zach,
Brody, you're the only one that had a season of never winning a game.
No, I thought I won one. Did I win?
No, you went the whole season. You couldn't even win a game.
And it's all because one of your wimps got hurt like a
when Brody loses, he just quits.
Yeah,
he is.
Amen.
I would rather have you have a season where you don't win and aren't active than the bullshit of you being on top because it is so much worse.
Oh, I love being on top, baby. I love it.
We always say it. Brody's the sorest winner and the sorest loser I've ever met.
And it makes me so happy.
I just want Brody to be in the middle. Just straight middle.
See the pain in your heart.
Scared, Clay. Just right in the middle.
Hold on now, guys. We've gone over an hour. I'm going to end the podcast, but the YouTube live show is going to continue. So let me just play us out, end the podcast, and then we'll come right back. So hold on, everybody.
Bye, Grandma.
Yeah, we'll lose Grandma. Bye, Mom.
This has been Just a Fantasy Fan Podcast. And to keep your fantasies going, follow us at justthefantasyfan.com. Say good night. Good night.
Gus is here.
And we're back for the people that are listening to us live on YouTube, or even not live, but listen later on. You'll hear the after party.
So
chat.
it's still just the podcast, right?
It's
Which is
still-
yeah.
Nobody
It's
wants
like-
now, nobody
like
wants to
Big
listen
Brother.
to an hour and a half podcast of us talking shit now. But
It's like
now,
Big Brother after dark.
right.
Pull
This
your wieners out.
is the extra part that you pay extra for. So, and Clay, did you hear we had 92, we think roughly listeners, watchers, everything last week. So we're getting close to that 100.
Awesome.
100, and I'm sure all is because of the goblet. I think people.
Oh yeah.
People want to know and see and hear about the goblet.
I
So,
personally hate the goblet. It's way smaller than I imagined.
it's 9 inches. You've never seen 9 inches.
No, he's never seen 9 inches. I'll tell you that fucking right now.
There's a family heirloom.
All I know is that I've not seen an 8-ounce beer very often either. So
That's fine. It's still big enough. It's small, and again, it will fit just fine on the skipper's table. So when Magle comes in, I can say, Magle, buy the champ
a sippy cup.
Trotwood, whatever. Zach, you're not gonna have it this year, so no one gives a shit about what you think of a trophy you're never gonna have in your hands.
So
And
is
let
Mark?
you come down to your father's room and pick it up.
I won't
Mark's
because
not
it's
going to give it up, even if he
Studs.
loses, right?
Hey, I'm about the only one that comes into Skippers along with Mark, so I'm not buying the beer every time I fucking see you if you win this.
It doesn't matter, Magle. It's basically half the price you would pay if it was a normal sized goblet. 'cause you only have-
No,
Beer.
it's not.
It's the fact that you'll be in Skipper's drinking out of it, and people go,
I'm going to drink out of it with you.
Pickett will go, what the hell is that? And I'll say, it's
After
when
the
champion
first time,
drinks
I'm drinking out of it with you.
the Crayports, they're not going to have one of these.
Have fun,
Braxton,
you both get 2
We'd have
drinks
to ship
each.
it to Indiana, Brackman. We'd have to ship it to Indiana.
That's not cool.
Aren't you
can't.
moving back, Brackman?
We're trying.
All
Go.
right, whatever.
I mean, old people
Are you
keep
moving
dying
back
like
just
all
for
around
the-
us, Kevin. So,
So if you
you
don't,
can
are you
move
going
in
to
close to
fly
it.
in for the live draft,
We'll fly in for the live draft.
or at least try?
Awesome.
Yeah.
You'll
He's moving back just for the fantasy league. I know it.
We're all waving.
Uh,
She doesn't care.
She doesn't care.
But that's life.
me and Kevin are in some serious trade talks right now.
Brody and I
I
are
was
about to.
hoping a trade would go down during the show.
It was close.
Brody
It
and
was
I,
close.
and it still is maybe.
Now,
Like,
Clay,
we're-
they were worried that there's earlier today how the documentation of our trade today was going to be documented.
I put it in the league message board.
That's what I
and-
figured. That's what you know.
That and I believe that carries over, right? That should message
Yeah.
board.
I'm pretty sure it does.
Yeah.
Now,
If
I'm
not, I'll
sorry.
just put it on I think I can do a league manager post too at the end of the season.
Yeah. Well, I know you can log into ESPN and then click on the year last year. You can click
Yeah.
from 19 to 18, and then you'll see all the stuff from last year there.
I mean, also you guys should just be able to remember, hey, I have this pick. Not
right.
that
I'll
hard.
remember that I didn't make that trade. I'll remember.
Yeah. All right.
Did you have a problem with it? We talked about it earlier today. See if originally everybody in the chat room was a little upset, but I think it's because they didn't know the details. Once you saw the details, you kind of understood what.
It didn't bother me. It's kind of like I do a trade for draft picks every year so far. So it's just that, but in the middle of the season.
But earlier. I mean,
What?
like real sport, right? I just did it earlier rather
Yeah,
than.
that's what I'm saying. You just did it during the season, so it's fine. I don't give a shit.
Well, I mean, that's.
Well,
I didn't mean it that way, but I know what you're saying. I mean, it's just we hadn't done it before.
yeah. I mean, last year I think you and Ben did one for waiver spots.
Yes, we did trade a waiver spot.
So I mean, it's kind of the same.
I've told
concept.
anybody, you come to me and want to make a deal, I'll figure out a way to make a deal happen if it's good for both of us. I mean, I do think outside the box a little bit. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean,
My only thing is that Kyle had talked to me first, said, "Hey, I'm looking to move players. What can you offer? I said, hey, how's this sound? Let me know. And then he said, okay, let me think about it. And then never countered, never said what he thought. And next thing I knew, he's sent that player to you. So it's just like, oh, okay. So
Also,
I guess I was upset about that.
I asked for Edelman like 2 weeks ago, I think, and he's like, "I'll never give it to Edelman. I'll have him on my team for the next 4 years." And all of a sudden, he gets rid
None
of
of that is my fault. I don't know any of that.
No,
I'm only making offers and stuff. I mean,
again, that's why I'm not mad at you. I was just saying my own frustration with the trade. And
but isn't that everybody's trade? I mean, whenever someone makes a trade, it's usually because I'm sure I'm like you, Clay. You go to other people's, okay, maybe not, but you go to other people's teams and you go, who's maybe available and who do I have? You try to make something happen. So yes, when you see someone that, that he has somebody available, then yeah, you're going to make some offers. Yeah. And now when I originally offered it to him, he did tell me that he had a few other people already send him stuff and he'd have to think about it. And I said, okay. And then, and then before he could change it, before he did anything, I countered with another trade, which is, I don't know if you heard earlier in the podcast, I explained it. That's why there was 2 trades accepted. He accepted the wrong trade. I had originally just offered him Mac for Henry, and that's the one he wasn't sure about and said he'd have to think about it. Then when he didn't come back for a while, and I typed something back to him, and he said,
offered him the other one.
Blah. Then I said, well, here's some other option maybe that'll help you. Well, I think his concern was Mac wasn't in the 5th round a great keeper. So that's when I added, the 5th round pick to go with it. So he'll technically still get a 5th round pick and get Mac in the 5th.
He gets like 2 5th round picks.
That's when and even then he wasn't, he even texted right back. He goes, I don't understand it, or I'm going to have to think about this one.
The amount I do get, because anytime I've tried to trade draft picks with someone like Kyle last year, and I think Ben as well, trying to explain it, it's hard, I think, for some people to wrap their head around like how that works. And it took a while for me to explain to people.
On a draft pick.
Yeah, that too. But just understanding the concept of like because you don't see the value right away. Like how you see a play. Okay, I'm getting this player. You're just getting kind of a placeholder.
Who do you play next week, Mark?
Me?
Yeah.
Jimmy.
I play Jim this week, and I play Kyle next week. So
this is another streak Jimmy's going to go through. He's gone through 5 wins, and now he'll lose to Mark and then lose to me, I think, next 2 weeks.
Ooh, are you leaving Brody by? All right. So, Jim, now, could Jim, and probably still, Jim, you could still make it and lose to maybe, right?
No, that would knock him out. That'd make him...
No. 6 and 7. So the key
6 and 7, but his problem is his points for are a lot lower than like Reed and people like that.
Are we going to see one 6 and 7 team in this? Is there going to be one losing team in the playoffs?
Oh yeah,
you bet your bottom dollar there's going to be, boy.
Kevin's rooting for that, but it's going to have to be someone with a lot of points.
And I'm coming for the host smasher,
which would be something more towards,
Reed or me or Magel, I think would have a better shot at 6 and 7.
Right. Okay. Because of the points.
And that's the other reason I was saying that the 7 and 4 teams are guaranteed, because Zach and Kevin play each other this week, and that will knock one of them out. And then that's the bottom 4.
Well, and I know I have quite a few points also. I'm pretty high up. So I'm assuming if I tie with a few people, I know Brody's got more than me, but he's going to be in I wouldn't be up against him, as far as that goes.
A tight end, right, Mark?
Yeah, got to have a tight end. Everybody. And got to have a kicker, Jammy. Don't forget that kicker this week.
Speaking of trades, it's not too late for a trade to happen during this.
Host smasher. Let's make it work.
I don't want to ever work with Kevin again because
you sent me 2 trades today. I couldn't accept them.
You can make trades all the way up. You can make trades up to 3rd. Now, I've learned in the past, because I've made a few mistakes. If you make a trade after Thursday and it includes a Thursday player, the trade won't go through till next Tuesday.
Yeah.
So you got to pay attention to that.
Wait, what? Can you repeat that?
If you trade somebody after Thursday's game that includes somebody in Thursday's game, the trade won't go through till next Tuesday.
Well,
That player's already played.
Right, they've already played. Well,
Go.
but see, what happens
Hey,
is
Clay.
sometimes what you'll do is you'll do like a 4-way, you 2 players and he's got 2 players, and you might not have paid attention and go, oh shit, I didn't know that guy already played on Thursday night, because it might have been a bench player or something like that. And then you'll go, well, why didn't the trade go through? And then you'll look down and go, oh shit, that guy played Thursday night and now the trade won't go through until, the next Tuesday. So that's just a little tip.
Well, I sent you a trade, Mark.
You did?
I did.
I love your trades. Right. Well,
Send me a trade.
I do
I'm done
struggle.
sending Kevin
I
trade.
do struggle trading
every time.
playing that week, though. I mean, I do kind of look at that. I've said
I know we are playing, but I'm in a situation where I have to win, and you're not.
Okay.
I have to win. You're talking to Mark.
Now, here's where I'm going to say you're wrong. If I lose, I'm not going to get a pick who I play in the playoffs. So I'm still kind of in this to win the next 2 weeks. So that I've said it honestly, I don't want to play Mago or Clay in the first round of the playoffs. It's important to me to win this week and next week, so that's not going to happen. I don't want to play Clay or Clint until the Super Bowl. So I'm just telling you, I'm hoping Clay and Brody and Mago knock each other out, and me and Brackman and Jimmy and Zach in the other bracket, have.
You don't want to play the host smasher on a 5-game win streak. I'm hot.
I see. Now you want that sympathy trade. but I'm just saying, and me and Zach. I mean, Zach asked me the first thing when he came home. He didn't quite understand my trade either, and how that helped me and all that. And the trade really doesn't help me for the Super Bowl or for
this week. It fucks me. It
helped me. I needed to win this week, Jim, and I hate to say it that way.
I got fucked. If there's anyone that got fucked, it's me.
Well, because I didn't have any players. I had so many people on buys from all the shitty.
I was feeling good. I'm like,
I think Megan said in the last podcast that Spicer trades himself out of winning. And I did. I made a couple of trades that were good trades, but they were all bye week players this week. I had before that trade today, I had multiple people on bye week. And then I end up with Mac getting hurt, Freeman not playing. I mean, I ended up with a lot of unhealthy players. Now, the last thing I'll tell you, if I knew 100% Cook was going to be healthy this week, which when I made the trade today, I still thought Cook was not going to play, I might have stepped back because technically this trade hurts me next year. In the 5th round, I've got no picks. I mean, that's a big spot to give up a trade or a pick. But I did all that just to win this week and next week so that I don't have to play Clay or Clint. I mean, they both have teams that are on a roll right now, and even if I score 200, them bastards are scoring 220. So Mago, I mean, do you understand? I mean, I'm not lying. I'm telling you the truth. I don't want to play you in the playoffs, and I wouldn't pick you. I'd rather play Jim or Brackman or Kevin. I mean, and not that their teams are bad. I'm not saying it that way, but you guys aren't scoring 220 points. I know my team's capable of scoring 200, so I have a shot at beating you guys maybe. But if I go up against Clay or Clint Mago and they score 220, I might be in trouble. So it truly was a trade to help me. Bye, Kevin.
No, I got a question for you.
Oh, go ahead.
All right, I'm gonna break all the bylaws of fantasy footballing here.
All the bylaws.
I am gonna ask your opinion on a trade that could or could not about go down
in our league.
In our
league. Well, that's
what was the question? Sorry, I missed it.
He wants to know if he can ask a question about a trade that hasn't gone down yet in our league.
That could go down
could go down. Now, I guess I have to ask, is the other person in this room right now?
No, they're not.
See, I struggle with that. We had that conversation early on with the first podcast. I personally, now this is just me, I personally feel trade talks are a personal thing, and to talk outside of the two players requires both players' consent. That's just the way I look at it.
I agree.
I will never talk about someone else's trades until after they've happened. Just like, for instance, if me and Jim are talking a trade right now, I wouldn't bring it up to someone else until I either approved it or canceled it.
I could have swore you said that you put a open door policy out there for anyone that want to consult you for some honest advice about a trade.
And then that would be the next thing I would say in public, which is what Kevin said. And what I said is in public, I'm not going to say a word. But if anyone if you direct message me a specific question, I will give you 100% my honest answer and opinion. And if you use it, fine. If you don't, fine. Like Magel, a couple of you come to my sit start thing on Sunday mornings. Almost 400 views last week, just to let you guys know.
Nice.
Lou Landers is the expert and answers most of the questions, but I'll throw my opinions out there. Even though I know you guys are asking questions about our league, I do, because people in that forum don't know I know you anyway. And that's just my job at that point, to put out my opinion. But I tell people that aren't in our league, if you're listening to me and Lou on Sunday morning, we're just giving you things to think about. We're not telling you to start or sit that guy. Technically, we're telling you, here's why we would do it. And then you still have to come up with the choice. But yeah, if someone, like I said, I'm not a fan of talking about someone else's trade. But yeah, if Kevin would text me and go, what do you think of this? I'm going to say, hey, these two guys look good. That looks bad. And then you can make a choice. That's different than in a public forum if we're all just bullshitting and someone just says, yeah, bro. Now, Zach and Brody do it all the time because they offer each other shitty trades. And one of them go, that asshole just offered me some piece of shit trade. You would have taken it either, right? And yeah, that's a little different, but it's hard. I mean, keeper leagues open up a whole new ball game to what, a trade should or shouldn't, to be real honest. So,
okay. Off the cuff of trades. Cause I agree with you, Mark. I mean, I don't need to talk to you about it, but I will tell you, not that this has anything to do with the trade, but having Michael Gallup and Randall Cobb both on my team scares the living daylights out of me.
Yeah. It's made you competitive the last 2 weeks, but at the same time, it could hurt. This week is the rough one because of it.
Yep.
I agree.
They're about to get shut down by the Patriots.
Well, here's the problem. I think one of them is going to get shut down.
Both of them.
Yeah,
they will double team one and put Gilmore on the other.
What about Amari Cooper?
No, that's not true. They have to cover Cooper. If Cooper is hurt, then you're in trouble. But if Cooper plays and Gallup, Cobb is the one that could have the big week. I think
there's only two defenses in the NFL that I would legit consider sitting someone against, and that's either San Francisco or the Patriots.
I don't disagree.
San Francisco didn't do shit this week.
Can you see this?
As far as stopping the Cardinals.
What are you showing?
All of my guys play defenses in the red this week.
I know. That's tough. That makes it tough.
Especially New England, they're strong in the secondary. I mean, if you had like a running back like Dalvin Cook, I wouldn't feel as bad. And I mean, I know this because I'm a Patriots fan, so I watch every game. If you have a mobile quarterback like Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson, Lamar Murray, those guys can still put up points, but secondary-wise, they are solid. It's their strength.
I think you're going to see more points scored against the Patriots in the next couple
I do agree. Right. I do agree that too, Magel. I think this is going to be one of those games where you're going to see more points scored against them than some of the
first half. Yeah.
Played. Dak Prescott's already proven he can play pretty decent against good people. But that's back to answering Kevin's question, though. The odds are one of those two guys isn't going to have a great week. I don't think you're going to see the 20 points out of both of them. I mean,
but if you trade one of them, who's to say you're going to trade the right one?
So who out of those two players is considered, wide receiver number 2 and 3?
Gallup would be
2, and Cobb is number 3.
So if anyone has a good week, I would say it's probably going to be Cobb.
I would agree also.
And Cobb's had the best week the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. And Cobb is a good player. When he's healthy and is with a good quarterback, he's proven before, with Rodgers, he can, be an all-pro. But the problem there is, and I know where Kevin would be coming from here, if you lose, do you want to trade away one of your good keepers?
No. And so no. And taking all that into effect, as I didn't say it on the show, but I have nobody. So like Patrick Mahomes is a huge piece for me because I don't have a lot of depth on my team.
Right. Mahomes scoring 40. I mean, he didn't help you this week, but
Jimmy Garoppolo scoring 40 last week
helped you. Right.
Helped me tremendously.
Right. But if you have Mahomes, but he's on bye, Mahomes gets you 40 or 45 and Gallup gets you 30. That you've got a good week. No one else has to do anything more than just decent points.
Yeah.
And you win a week. I agree. Mahomes allows you that, and Gallup. It's it's just hard.
It's hard to make It's hard to make trades, knowing that Mahomes is my only guy that I've got.
Right.
If that makes any sense.
The problem is you keep playing this week. That's the problem.
And I have to win this week.
You're done.
And Kevin, your other problem is the other people who might be able to trade with you need him this week too. You can't even make too many deals. Brody has 2 quarterbacks. That's the problem. The other people who have decent quarterbacks are already up there and, probably aren't necessarily willing to trade. It's hard for you. I mean,
I sent Kevin a trade request for Mahomes thinking, all right, I know he's not going to play this week, but I expect to lose anyway. So Kevin needs to win. I expect a loss. I'm going to be in a much better position to be able to beat Clay if I have Mahomes.
I don't argue that.
He did. I mean, and
as long
Jim,
as you're confident in still getting in with one more loss, that's what it comes down to. If you lost, you're going to be 6-6. So yes, you would definitely have to hope Mahomes wins the following week for you to make it pay off. But that's the gamble. That's what makes fantasy fun, right, Mago? That's the part you enjoy. There's so many twists and plot things.
Oh yeah, there's a ton.
And again, I don't want to hurt
Kevin, I've got pretty good keepers too. You might want to look over my thing, and you don't need to help Brody. I don't need any Brody help this week.
Well, but now we start. That's my point. Now when you start talking that way, it gets like, all right, now we're influencing people. But
I'm just telling him, I'm sitting on some pretty good keepers, and I can't keep them all.
But the problem,
so it's something he might want to look at in the next week. He might want to look at.
Right. The issue is, are your keepers good enough to help him win this week? He needs to win this week. So
that's why the trade I sent him, it was basically me just taking an L this week in the hope that I can guarantee myself a win against Clay and then have a strong team in the playoffs.
And then so to that though, and I'm not lying to you, the second one you sent me, I was this close to accepting. But my only reason I didn't is because if I lose this week with the guys you send me, which I thought was fair, then I don't have Mahomes next year.
Right. And do you or don't you have anyone to trade to get keepers? That's the other thing.
Would you really keep him I wouldn't keep a quarterback in the 5th round.
I would keep Mahomes.
Mahomes is Mahomes is a value in the 5th round.
Yeah.
I know Jim doesn't want to believe that.
I don't think anyone took a quarterback in the 5th round until I know Reed had an awesome 5th round pick with Lamar Jackson, but I don't think anyone expected him to be as good as he has been.
Again, I took mine in the 3rd and the 4th, and you've hollered at me both times when I mentioned that.
You don't even have them.
And the year before that, I took him in the 1st and the 2nd. And the year before that, I took my quarterbacks in the 1st and the 2nd. And I'm in the playoff hunt and the Super Bowl every year. So 2 quarterback leagues, quarterbacks are much more valuable than people think. I'm just saying. And this league, every time I do that, everyone laughs at me. And then 4 picks later, there's 3 quarterbacks gone, because everyone else goes, oh shit, Pricer took quarterbacks. I think everyone waits to see if I don't take them, they'll drop farther. I think everyone waits till I do it and then they'll draft them. But I mean, it's hard, Kevin. That's why we added the keepers. It makes it a little more, it makes it all different.
Well, and that's why I'm
first year we've been this tight.
And I'm trying to make my strategic point, I don't care to tell you. I'm trying to make moves around Mahomes with the option if things don't go my way this week, knowing that I may have to deal him out next week or before Wednesday.
Right.
Which
I don't even want Mahomes.
Who you want?
We'll talk.
And that's my issue too.
I'm going to send you something.
Me and Kevin have talked Mahomes too. My problem with Mahomes, and I don't know if anyone's look, I set myself up with the 2 quarterbacks I have now. I didn't draft them, but I now set myself up with 2 quarterbacks that have easy schedules going on. Brady doesn't play anybody in the playoffs. Breeze is the same way. They both have easy schedules in the playoffs. Mahomes doesn't.
Mahomes is tough.
Which at first made me think, okay, but I don't care. It's Mahomes. And then he has struggled 2 of the last 3 weeks with better teams. And then that makes me go, well, hell, I can't trade away a bunch of people and then get Mahomes and Mahomes not do what, if Mahomes isn't getting you 35 or 40 points, I can get 25 out of any quarterback.
Yeah.
And that's the point. If you get Mahomes in any of these deals, you're hoping Mahomes is going to get you. You got to get 35. I mean, he has to have those big weeks like Lamar Jackson is having. Who has Lamar Jackson? Reed.
Yeah, he's got Lamar Jackson and Russell Westbrook or Russell Wilson.
Yeah, he just can't win, and he won't make moves. I meant to ask him tonight. He won't make moves either. I've not seen him. I don't know if anyone's sending him trade offers. I sent him a few and I stopped because he doesn't even decline them. They just run out, and I'm like, I mean, that's me. If someone doesn't acknowledge something in a day, I just turn it off. I mean, I just take it down, figuring they weren't interested. Now I know Meggle hunts, and I might leave something up a little longer, but
it actually work.
Right. And that's the thing. If I know that's the kind of person I'm dealing with, I'll let it go longer. And then there's other people, I'll put it up and an hour later, take it down because I know who I sent it to has seen it. And if they got to think an hour, then I'll take it down. If they liked it, they can offer it back and then I'll go from there. So I've done that before.
You're the same way I am.
I play in a pretty high end, a $200 baseball league, and these flash trades happen all the time. These flash offers. Literally, your phone will go beep, and before you can see what the offer was, it's gone. And you're like, God damn it. So then you got to open emails, go, what they offer. And they do that. The expert people will do that because they want you to look and think about it, and they'd rather send it to you 3 different times and turn it off, knowing that your phone beeped and blah, blah, blah. And then some guys will do it once and you'll never see it again. And they're hoping you'll counter with something or whatever. But that's just the way I do it. It depends on who I'm dealing with. I might just send it. Like if me and you, like right now, if we go off this show and in the next 5 minutes, I go, okay, I talked to Jim and, or Kevin or one of you go, so I'm going to send an offer out. I'm going to assume you're going to see it in the next 10 minutes. So if you don't reply or at least text me something in a half hour, an hour, I must not have tweaked them much and I'll just, I'll move on, and that's just kind of what I'll do. And then sometimes someone will reoffer and sometimes they don't, but it's just a matter of how you want to play. I mean, Jimmy, it's like car deals, right? You get some customers that'll stand up like, if you can't come off $100 more, I'm walking. And then they're hoping that you'll grab them before the door closes and okay, we'll give you that $100.
Tell me to get the fuck out of here.
It makes it fun. All right. Well, anything else? We've been an extra half hour on the YouTube live channel. Give these guys something to, and I think I kind of forgot we were on again once we start bullshitting, versus worrying about topics or a show thing or whatever. But let
me say it to this. I'll say this to 3 guys who I feel like have got a spot solidified in the playoffs. I know that anybody can make it, but I've got
you're solidified.
Huh?
We're solidified.
You are. You're in there. I feel like I've got receivers that can be solid, in a 3-receiver league with a flex, maybe a solid 3rd, maybe 2nd receiver, if not a flex, but I'm struggling at running backs and I need a running back this week. So if you guys
I say you're trying to fix both your quarterback and running back words this week.
I know, but if I take it and I lose this week, my bargaining chips are off the table.
Right, that makes it hard.
So, I know, Jim. It's
the opposite. I mean, if I offer you something and you take it, now Jim's more likely going to win this week. It's the double-edged sword for me. And then, like I said, I if I make too bad of a move this week and lose to Jim, then, like I said, I could go out in first round of the playoffs because I got stuck playing Clinton or Clay, and I'm not. Brody kicked my butt last year, the first round. Going out in the first round is the worst because you're almost like, now, I mean, I shouldn't say that. You're glad you're in, but at the same time, you're like, and my team literally scored 118 points. I'd scored like over 200 3 weeks in a row. First week of the playoffs, 118. And it just, losing the first round sucks.
Yeah.
Makes it hard. But, I mean, hey, like I've always said, crack the door open, give me some ideas. I'll try to work something out one way or the other. But I've said it on this show multiple times. Any trade I make has to make my team better. either this week or for the season or for next year. I mean, it's just the way it works. Like right now, I have no key. I shouldn't say that. I have one, and I'm going to say okay keeper. Zach was questioned. I think someone else in the chat room questioned Edelman. Edelman is a 10th round keeper next year, which some people think's a steal, but he's what, a 42-year-old wide receiver. There's a chance he's not even on the Patriots next year. Meaning there could be enough. There could be things happening in the offseason where Edelman is barely worth a 10th round pick. And I gave up a 5th for him technically, and Zach kind of then agreed with that, but Zach was one of those, Edelman is going to be like a 5th round pick. Well, he was this year, but next year he may not be. We all have seen that before. Wide receivers have great years until the year they don't, and then they're fucking useless.
So can I ask you this?
Sure.
I got Emmanuel Sanders in a trade from Kyle maybe 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Does he got a keeper value?
Well, he was drafted in the 6th round this year.
So you could keep him in the 4th.
But that's it. He would be my 4th. He would be my 4th pick.
Yep. That's the point. So you got to look at that and go, is that really a keeper or not?
Mm-hmm.
So
especially and you got to look at the company of the 4th round.
Well, but that changes every year a little bit. But yes, I mean, wide receivers like Sanders probably are 4th, 5th, 6th round picks. I mean, that's kind of where they're at. It's back to, like I said, it's back to Marlon Mack in the 5th. Marlon Mack finishes really good the next few weeks, and even the Colts go to the playoffs and Mack has a couple 100-yard games. Mack could be a 2nd or 3rd round pick next year. And I gave him away for the 5th. That's a steal. He could not come back from this hand injury. He could break it again. And he could come back and he's a 5th round, or instead of a 5th round, he goes in the 8th round. Well, then I win the trade. That's the way trades work, right? I mean, and
you don't know.
That's right. You don't. And that's the gamble. You just have to look sometimes. So when I look at keepers like that, I don't look at them as keepers. If I see a Sanders in the 4th, I would not consider him a keeper. Doesn't mean next year at the draft, if he's on my league and I look at my keepers and I don't know, for some reason he jumped up, draft boards, then I go, okay, today I'm going to decide to keep him. But I probably would not keep Sanders in the 4th.
How many can you keep?
In this league next year, we've added one. You can keep 4. So that's, which again, back to talking to Kyle and understanding. I mean, I told Kyle, you know what? I'm trading you a keeper, not a keeper. I'm trading you a pick. Picks are a lot more valuable than keepers because picks don't get traded to another team. Picks don't get hurt in the preseason. Picks don't, if I trade you a 5th round pick, you're guaranteed to get a 5th round pick the day of our draft. Nothing can change that.
So let me ask you this.
Keepers can change all the time.
So let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
As a wager, I'm not saying I'm in a deal with anyone, but if Mahomes were to come on the table and someone really wants Mahomes, how valuable is Mahomes?
Well, I mean, that's between you and the guy that wants him. I mean, there are some leagues, Jim will disagree. There are some.
He's a 1st round pick.
Single quarterback leagues. Here's what's going to hurt him next year. Lamar hurts his value next year and Watson a little bit because those two could actually go ahead of him, where this year he was the first quarterback taken. And a lot of leagues he was going in the 1st or 2nd round.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar Jackson's going to be the first quarterback taken next year in all home leagues, and he's going to go in the 1st or the 2nd, which would move Mahomes down to the 3rd, maybe 4th.
Yeah.
2 quarterback leagues, you got to bump him a round or 2 from there. So if you can keep him in the 5th, I still think in our league, he's a value at 5. I'm not sure I see him as a 3rd yet necessarily. You have to see the way, but that's my point. He could still get hurt next summer. Meaning you can have I could trade you for Mahomes thinking, okay, I got Mahomes and I got his keeper value and that's all great. and then he gets hurt. Day of the draft, he's hurt. We don't even know if he's going to play. Do I keep him? I don't know. Where if I trade you a pick instead of a keeper, that if I trade you a 3rd round pick, you know what you have the day of the draft? A 3rd round pick. And I had to explain that to Kyle because Kyle thought a pick was worth less than a keeper. I said, no, it's worth more than a keeper. Now, you guys might argue with me, but am I wrong?
You're right. I mean,
would you rather have a 3rd round pick or someone you think's going to be worth the 3rd round keeper next year? That's what it comes down to.
Okay, Jim, would you rather have a 3rd round pick or Patrick Mahomes?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't take Patrick Mahomes in the 3rd round.
So, but you know what? Well, that's the difference. I think what Mark's saying. I would.
Right. See, that's the thing. If you two can't agree on what someone's value is, then the trade probably doesn't get made. You know?
But I'm just saying. I'm saying like if Jim was offering a pick or I was offering a pick or I'm just saying in the realm of our 12 guys value certain players. Our league values players differently.
Everyone does.
Obviously, the best player in fantasy football as of this year is Cortland Sutton, and I value him number 1. So if Jim doesn't keep him, then he will get drafted in the 1st round by me.
and that's a possibility. I have been in this league long enough to watch Kevin in a draft.
Hey, Mark, the year I drafted 4 Broncos and swept the table.
Yeah, won you a championship.
Yeah, that was the year with Manning, though.
But I know for a fact in fantasy football,
it's not going to work.
If you're going to draft 4 people,
funny
you're not going to win.
That you say that though, Kevin, because like me as a Patriots fan, like I intentionally try and steer clear of Patriots players. Like
really?
I think it's bad juju. I can't stand having them on my team because then if the Patriots shit the bed, not only am I pissed off because my team lost, but I'm pissed off because they fucked me in fantasy. And I just don't like it.
That is true.
Me and Chris Allen do a fantasy football podcast, and Chris knows a lot, right? I mean, we've talked about 1 million times on the offseason when we talk about strategies and all that. You're more likely to be a better fantasy player if you just the players only are numbers. They're only value. That's the only way to be a good fantasy football player. I don't care. Like Jim just said, I'm a big Bengals fan. I will draft Bengals if I get them at a good value, and I don't draft Bengals if they're not a good value, just like every other team.
Well, easier for you because none of those players have value.
I've been playing long enough when the Bengals had players. But my point is, if I can get AJ Green at a value, I'll pick AJ Green. I don't care. Meaning, when I play fantasy football, I separate fantasy football from real football, and I do it very easily.
And I will give you a comment or a compliment, not to pump you up, but you have no emotional attachment to guys.
Nobody.
And you get this, Mark, you get a guy here and people are like, holy smokes, Mark's set. And then 3 days later, you're sending that guy off to Egypt to somebody else.
They're poker chips to me. They're just,
and I don't, I see, and I'm different. I draft guys who I'm like, I'm interested in watching this dude all season. I want to watch these guys. I want to watch. So,
but
I'm different,
guys. I watch them all. I mean, because I'm watching them to see what their value will be next year or next week. Or I've had players on my team on and off multiple times before. I've traded players before they play for me one time.
Oh, I know.
Because I'm all about the overall strength of my team, not 1 or 2 high-end guys, which is usually why I don't have the Mahomes type player. Because that's the thing. And me and you've talked a few weeks about Mahomes. Mahomes will make me a top end team with a lot of, and help my starters. But to get him, I got to give a lot away. And now my bench strength, it's like, I mean, it can just happen. I mean, I said that with Mago a few weeks ago, without depth, if McCaffrey gets hurt, then what are you doing? I mean, like, again, Zach was like today, well, I get why you wanted Edelman, but why do you want Henry back? You have good running backs. Why? Barkley goes out and gets hurt one day. I don't know. Is Barkley coming back for sure? We don't know. Damian Williams gets his chest hurt yesterday. He's on the questionable list. I mean, running backs can go very quickly.
Hey, I sent a trade to Kyle.
Saw it.
I sent a trade to Kyle. Robbie Anderson for Darius Geis from Washington.
Uh-huh.
He accepted it. and he just said, "Sorry, that was an accident. I'm drunk. I need a running back."
I think that's good. Now, okay, I meant to bring this up on the podcast because Zach had this issue. If he truly did what he just said, do you think he should be allowed to have that trade taken back?
I mean,
I sit there and look at that before I do that, and that is one of my biggest fears is pressing the wrong button.
Yeah. Now here as a commissioner of other leagues and someone who is other the leagues where I've seen things happen, because Zach 2 weeks ago,
he immediately told him that.
Yeah, I mean, if he immediately says,
he immediately within seconds he said that. I thought
he thought about it all night.
Is he asked to take it back or not? I don't know. I'm not reading that. My phone's way over there. But here's my point. Zach the other day he meant to drop who's on IR, the Philadelphia wide receiver. That's who he meant to drop instead of Brian Hill 2 weeks ago when Brian Hill was Freeman's backup. And then Freeman got hurt that week. And Zach immediately came down to me, or Zach came a little bit later. And I even looked at him and said, why did you drop Brian Hill instead of the guy on the IR? He goes, I hit the wrong button. I said, well, did you text Clay? Because most commissioners here's how I do it as a commissioner. And most is if you text me within a few minutes that you made a mistake, I will almost always reverse it. If you text me an hour later, or maybe even 15 minutes later, without a good reason, I mean, if you went, I made this trade and then I went into the gymnasium of the school and I couldn't text you back, maybe I'll buy that. But if you literally hit accept or decline or something,
you need to look at how the wording's going, because I'd say he's shit faced right now.
He's scared.
He was actually texting Zach, and he thought he was texting
everybody else,
and then he can't even put reversed on it. He put reversed, and I mean reverse it. Oh, never mind. And who am I talking to? Clay? Yeah, he's
as a commissioner. If he's drunk, he's probably not even sober enough to text and say, "Hey, Clay, I made a mistake and should have hit decline instead I hit accept." And then I would think Clay's on
it.
Now I've had a few where we had to vote on it, meaning, okay, it didn't happen right away, but within a reasonable time, someone asked, can we reverse something? And I've talked to both owners, and then, hey, you know what? This is close enough where we need a majority or people understand and see what everybody says. So now I'm not a Geist guy. Now he's got some keeper value. I would say that's the problem. He gave away another keeper more than he did.
They're reversing it. They're getting rid of it.
They are reversing it. Now, do you feel bummed? Or do you understand? I get it.
I understand. I understand. I need a running back, though.
I know.
I mean, he did. I mean, almost.
He's scared.
Almost immediately, he's
scared. Yeah.
He said something.
Because if I did the same thing, Mark, and I didn't mean to, because those two buttons are similar.
Oh, especially on the phone app. The phone app is working the computer.
And if I did the same thing and I sent off somebody, I'd be doing the same thing. So, I agree. I mean, if it needs to be reversed, it needs to be reversed.
Now, Everett, Zach didn't. He goes, well, I didn't know. I didn't think Clay would reverse it, so I didn't ask him. And it wasn't the worst thing in the world. It just happened to be when Zach thought that Freeman hadn't been hurt yet. And then when Freeman gets hurt, Zach goes, oh, fuck, now I wish I'd have told Clay I didn't want to reverse, because then Hill was a big pickup. Now he sucked. So, again, I'm sure Zach doesn't care again now. But when Zach first did it, he realized I dropped the wrong person, But I think if you let a commissioner know pretty quickly, it should be able to be reversed. And I don't think the league has a right to get pissed about it. So, that's life. All right, guys.
Like you said, if it would have been a half hour later, I'd have had a problem with it. But I mean, I was sitting here watching it, and he was like, "Oh shit, I just hit the wrong button."
Yeah, fantasy friends don't let fantasy friends, drink and trade. You don't. You got to be careful.
And Mark, that might be another reason at night sometimes why I don't accept your trade, because I'm drinking and I'm like, I can't see it real good.
And also, it might also be the reason I sent it.
Yeah,
maybe Garrett was fucked up when he gave away Michael Thomas.
I've seen it and I've heard about it. And I've also been in leagues where they wouldn't reverse anything. I mean, some commissioners like, nope. You know what? The app tells you, are you sure? And you said, yeah, that's on you, you know, and then I've seen where commissioners say it's between you two, you know, meaning I'm not reversing it, but if you convince Brackman you did it wrong, then send him the trade back and let him, then you accept it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can also let the players work it out, but, you know, hey, makes it fun. So, hey, I had a blast. I got to go.
All right. Later.
And again, I'll get the trophy and the goblet on order here, and sometime in the near future, we'll have by the end of the season, we'll have a complete trophy.
All right, boys. Hey, you trade you Mark Clint. If you got keepers, take a look at my roster. Let's make something.
Quite a few.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of keepers. I just have league winners. I mean, that's all.
We'll see when it comes down to it.
Well, I need to make a deal before Thursday.
Thursday. All right. Say goodnight.
Night.
Night.